Hi, welcome to Q&A Tuesday on the 13th of October. Today's question is from Debbie, who asks about portion size, how much she should be eating, and she's concerned that she eats too much, but she isn't sure how much she should be eating each day, and this is a really common concern. Now, I don't dictate how much you should be eating because the truth is, I don't know how much you should be eating. Estimating caloric needs is a hugely inaccurate science. Everyone is so different and there are so many different variables as to how much you should be eating. Plus, we don't fully understand all the variables yet. We don't know all of the different variables that there may be determining how many calories each person might need. What we do know for sure is that restricting food intake doesn't work long term. Restricting food intake has kind of been likened to sitting in a cold room with your sweatshirt beside you and not being allowed to put it on. And that's really unpleasant. No one can do that for a long time. So we need to eat to satiation. We can't try to conform to some artificial calculation of how much we should be eating. And this really applies if we want to get long-term results, which is what the Eat More to Weigh Less program is all about. And the fact is that we don't need to conform to some artificial calculation. Our body is so perfectly designed that it can calculate the precise number of calories we need each day far more accurately than all of the calorie apps out there can. But it can only do that if we're eating the type of foods that we're designed to eat. When we eat oil or any other of the hyper-concentrated sources of calories out there, the mechanisms that calculate how much we need to eat don't work. And also, when we eat foods that artificially stimulate a dopamine rush, that will also override our satiety mechanisms as well. So it's super important to make sure that you have completely eliminated dairy, eggs, sugar, oil, meat, flour products, processed foods, all of those things that we talk about in the modules. Some people may also need to restrict nuts and seeds as well for a while in order to get optimal results. Now, I do actually give some guidance about quantities in the Eat More to Weigh Less program in the minimum quantities list that's part of Module 6, and also in your introductory webinar for Eat More to Weigh Less. There's a diagram of the healthy eating placemat that shows the ratios of the different types of food on your plate, so that you can see the proportion of vegetables and fruits and beans and that kind of thing you should be eating at each meal or throughout the day. So the focus really has to be on eating enough at each meal. You need to feel full, not stuffed or overfull, but just comfortably full. And the only time you should feel hungry is before meals. Now, I do believe that most people do best with their weight management when they eat 3 full meals a day rather than snacking. And the reason for this is that it takes planning and preparation to eat a natural diet in our unnatural society, in the kind of unnatural food environment that we live in. And it's really doable to plan and prepare 3 meals a day. But planning and preparing snacks as well as that gets very cumbersome, and most people find that they just can't do it. And so often snacks kind of just tend to happen to them, and so often snacks are where people's weight loss can come unstuck, especially in the evenings. eating at night time. And so I've done a few Q&A Tuesdays about eating at night in the past, and I even did a YouTube clip on it a little while back. And in those posts I described that my greatest tip to ensure that you don't eat unhealthy food between meals or in the evenings at night time is to eat enough healthy food at meals. Now, most people are coming to this way of eating from what I would call a standard Aotearoa diet, or a standard Australian diet that includes a lot of nutritionally inferior but calorically dense foods like meat and cheese and processed foods. And so it can take a while to get used to eating enough vegetables, enough fruit, enough salad, enough beans, all those kind of things. Because what happens is when you don't eat enough of these foods is you'll feel tired and low in energy. And so that's why I've created that minimum quantities list. So that will tell you how much you should eat in terms of greens, how many pieces of fruit, number of pieces of fruit you should eat, minimum as far as a salad goes, your minimum in terms of beans go, and that kind of thing. And then really you're just left to fill in the gaps of your hunger with other whole starchy type foods like potatoes and kumara, and whole intact grains like brown rice or quinoa or millet or buckwheat. So I really encourage you to trust your body. Your body is absolutely perfect, and all you need to worry about is providing it with the right fuel, and let it guide you regarding how much of that fuel that you should be eating. So anyway, that's my A to your Q today, and I hope that kind of clarified quantities a bit more for you, and more than that, reassured you that quantities are not the issue. It's the calorie density of the foods you're eating that are the problem. So until next time, please take care everyone, and keep in touch, and I'll look forward to more of your questions next fortnight. Bye bye.